I know. I was gone for a really long time. It seemed like we would never come back. It was basically 3 weeks. That's way, way too long. Forgive me. But we do have some fun stuff to talk about today. There's this new show on HBO Max called Gaming Wall Street. And, we've been talking a lot about gambling. We've been talking a lot about investing. And I think that this docu-series might just be a good jumping off point to really discuss investments. And what happened last year with the GameStop thing, I did not give any money. And so I didn't make any money. And that's just something I'll have to regret until I eventually hit a lick. If you don't know what that means, Google it, please. So, it is on HBO Max. It's a Max original. We're going to watch season 1, episode 1. Before we do the countdown, though, this is just a thought that I had the other day that I wanted to share. Does it seem at all odd that there was a time where people weren't pooping into water? I know, a poop joke. That's how we're starting. Yes, because the water, and I don't have a lot of respect for water, despite it being most of our planet and our bodies and something that we need. But the water really masked the scent, because if even the smallest bit manages to make its way above the water, you can tell. And when you've wiped your ass, if one of those things doesn't go into the water and it gets stuck to the side, you can kind of tell that too. Okay, now having said that, let's do our 5-second countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. I was honestly expecting like a commercial. I've been buying a lot of Allbird stock and it keeps going down, but the company keeps making money. But remember, when it's down, that's great. It's $7 right now. I started buying in when it was like 16. Those bad people are like billionaires, though. They don't care. I'm also investing in pork because they say that, I don't know, there's going to be some drought. Something's going on with pigs and cows. So, COW is the handle on Wall Street. Get you some. And for a minute, it was good. Right? Like, shame on me and my hatred of social media because I don't fuck with Reddit like that. But if I did, yes. And rarely do people go to jail for it. The Gordon Geckos, they walk free.
turn into kind of an us versus them mentality. Pretty extraordinary David and Goliath story.
But this time David has a lot of his friends with him.
Goddamn right, I'm here to beat you, Goliath, and I brought my friends with me so that we can all eat you.
I've always kind of been a little bit of a troll, I guess. Class clown. I'm always trying to like get into jokes. If you're gonna be working with guys on social media, I feel like you can't take yourself super seriously, right? I met Austin about 6 years ago on a random forum. I don't know how we found that.
He looks like the guy you meet on Craigslist. You look like you've worked in porn.
The underdog. Always my whole life, whether it's a basketball team, a football team, or a bunch of guys on the internet going against that team. Investments were never a primary source of income for me. The investments were just gambles that I was willing to take on things that I believed in.
All right, we're young. We got time to sit and let them grow.
Put my money where my mouth is and
Till you're like 50, and then you need to get serious about cashing out. Of course, we're going to Las Vegas.
I've always had interest in the stock market. As soon as I turned 18, I bought stock. And
And steroids.
income investor. Back then, you had to pay commission to buy anything. So it kind of really didn't make sense because I was broke. I only had like $50 and I spent $8 to buy $50 worth of stuff, you know? But I was so
That's what stopped me from investing for a long time. Thank goodness they went free.
money into something that could grow my money. Wasn't until probably about a year ago that I started really diving into how the stock market could be used in such fascinating and unique ways, more than just buying and holding
I
on to
see that you bought that cute little teddy bear. Seems weird. Oh, okay.
you know, just like my best friend at this point, you know.
It's definitely a partnership because we have the same views when it comes to investing. He'll tell me like, oh, I think this
Oh, her mouth was so dark while she was talking. It looks like she has braces, but I can't tell. Open your mouth.
certain investments and how we see it.
A lot of people, they look at the stock market as either something you put your money in and forget about or gambling, you know.
I'm looking at it like the first. Something you put your money in and forget about. Though I do like seeing the total grow.
What is Wall Street Bets? It's a board on the popular internet forum Reddit where people talk about investments and stocks as if they're in a fucking mosh pit. It's capitalism unleashed. It's lunatics not just running the asylum, but buying and selling it.
Is a casino, basically. You have a lot of people losing money, and you have some people making a lot of money. Everyone's always doing crazy shit. Oh, you know, everybody out there is crazy. It's kind of a Wild West on there, you know?
None of these GIFs and things have anything to do with gambling.
Some random stock no one ever heard about, and you see someone say, "Oh, okay, I'm all in. I just bought $50,000 worth." I would always sit on the sidelines and laugh because I feel like these people are madmen. And I'm drunk and I've got a brain train on.
The funniest thing to me on Wall Street Bets was what they call loss porn. You just post how much money you lost.
Nah, I can't do that. Because if I lost money like that, that's like showing somebody my circumcised penis, but it was one of the nightmare circumcisions. I'm going to keep that thing to myself.
It's really like they think we're dumb. They call us stupid.
So let's not call it investing, it's gambling.
We just have money. Nothing
AMC Entertainment. I just want to take a quick break here and say AMC Theaters is charging $1.50 more for adults that want to see the Batman. Do not see the Batman at an AMC theater.
And if it didn't by the end of the week, he was going to drink his own piss.
Yikes. I mean, it's totally fine to drink your own urine. It's sterile. But no thank you. I don't even like swallowing certain loogies.
There's something very magical about it. It makes you not be so uptight about money. If you lose all your money at the end of the day, that's not everything, you know?
That's crazy. Yeah, that nobody believes that. You know what? I don't need money. I'm going to live in a park and do what I want till the cops ask me to keep it moving. Investing? We feel differently, but I believe that man's got a lot more money than me, so I will just keep that to myself.
From Alabama. I mean, you think about all the
See, that's the whole thing, and I keep trying to get my wife to believe in it because we both got heavy into investing at the same time. But when things started going down and she started losing, she became a little bit more reluctant. Whereas I'm like, no, it's down. That's good. It's going to go back up. Buy while it's really down.
immediately I started spending around 8 hours a day trading, just reading as much as I could about business. Trading was the first ever thing that really showed me what was possible.
I moved from digital when I was one. I'm Alabama new kid, and I moved from
Okay,
like
I thought you were going to say you moved by yourself. Just a 1 year old packing up my shit.
job. He's like never done working. I have an older brother and a younger brother, and we were all like, I'm gonna play in a band.
Well, you made it to the Warp Tour. Good for you. I've never heard of Breathe Carolina.
Toured in 2014. There were like 15,000 people singing my songs. Touring down in Carolina.
Penny's Going in Raw. That is a name.
Ours was back in the 70. It's now over 500,000, and you're doing great. You've developed a strategy on it.
I was like, all right, I can be friends with this guy. Maybe he could like teach me how to trade stocks better. He doesn't taught me how to trade stocks better at all, but we're
But I treasure his friendship. Are you friends? Because you kind of look like lovers walking that dog like that. Well, I mean, he's definitely gay. How many guys do you know with the little fanny pack on the back of their phone case to carry cards? I don't know any.
Twitter was just the natural place that everyone kind of flocked to. To me, Twitter is like a dying platform in comparison to like Instagram and stuff.
I agree. I used to tweet nonstop. I never want to tweet anymore. I don't even like attaching. I don't want to post my words anymore. I'm like a picture, a story, a reel, perhaps.
Everybody's profile picture was the Wall Street best guy.
That's the big thing about it, being able to drift through the BS to find the diamonds in it.
I wonder if it's a coincidence that the Wall Street Bets mascot looks like what Donald Trump thinks that he looked like when he was younger. Ah, GameStop. Such a long history. I started with Funko Land, if you're old enough to remember that. They were the first place that I ever heard of that was giving money for old video games to trade in and selling used ones. And then they became GameStop.
Speak English very well. Doesn't know what the stock market is and asking about GameStop.
There's been so many people involved recently that make trading available to everyone, and just the entry barrier is gone. And you can credit a lot of that to Rob. Yeah, I bet he's investing.
I do believe Robinhood was the first one to not have fees for investing, little commissions on everything. And then everybody followed suit. Thank goodness.
Brokers charge fees every time investors buy or sell a stock. Well, they did until Robinhood introduced something revolutionary: totally free trading.
Yeah, because if they were still charging commissions for everything, I trade all throughout the week. I won't reveal how much money, but as I have mentioned, I invest 15% of my gross. I'm trying to do the math on what I would be paying. I think in any given week, I don't know how much the commissions were. Oh, okay. So they would have taken quite a bit of my money for my investments. I would probably be giving them 5% and then investing 10.
Focused company on creating the tools for people to build wealth using the stock market. After I started getting really deep into financial services, especially having worked in bankruptcy and then
Oh, it's like the fathers and dads who don't take care of their finances at all, and they're like, "Nope, my wife takes care of that." And it's like, so you don't know how much money you have.
Well, it's going to tell you that you have the option to do that. Why do we not have a systemic approach to financial education? Well, you're going to make money off of it.
True.
Most of the system wants people to engage in it through credit cards and credit card debt, and it's going to work against you. We preach save, save, and yet people are like, okay, I've saved my money, and it's sitting there making no money. And so, what's the alternative? To put it in the market. Where is that Sherpa?
I mean, it is a better way of saving, though it can be volatile. But to give an example, for work yesterday, I opened an account at TD Bank, doing a birthday club thing. That's a whole story. And I asked, I was like, she's like, savings or checking? And I was like, well, which one gets better interest? Because we've discussed this before, checking accounts generally have better interest than savings accounts because you're always going to be spending money out of the checking. And she goes, the checking account accrues no interest. And I was like, really? But then the savings, I had to have a lot more money in there than I wanted. This is literally just an account for some stupid birthday club at work. So I went with the checking, but I was like, well, I would never do my primary banking with you because the checking account that I have for Navy Federal gets me some ridiculous interest. I'll look it up.
For a few years now and kept seeing GameStop, and I'm like, there's no way GameStop is a dying company. That doesn't make any sense. But then I saw a little bit of deep fucking value videos, and I was like, this is interesting.
Yo, what up, everybody? This is going to be the first video of the kitty corner, and the market has kind of forced my hand on this one. The first stock we've been talking about is GameStop.
Deep fucking value, and his whole YouTube channel.
A few things I'm not. I'm not a captain. I'm not an institutional investor. I grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts. My family was not wealthy. My father was a truck driver, and my mom a registered nurse. I took an interest in the stock market. I invested in GameStop in 2019 and 2020 because, as I studied the company, I became more and more confident in my analysis.
While I'm looking up this interest, I just want to say the founder or the former CEO of GameStop had his son go on game Shark Tank, and when I saw that, I was like, well, "You're rich. Why would you send your son to Shark Tank?"
At the very least, it kind of seems like they have a vision, and finally gaming interest is skyrocketing as a result of the pandemic. Well, shit, that's the type of base.
Reasons why prior to this little fun thing that they did, I would not have invested in GameStop. Like, well, if your dude's doing that with his son, things might not be going as well as one would hope. Okay, so for flagship checking at Navy Federal,
Poke some holes in my thesis and share it with you.
well, they just really don't want to show me what kind of interest I'm getting, huh?
But I've been wrong plenty of times in the past.
Deep fucking value is basically putting $50,000 YOLO on GameStop back when no one gave a fuck about GameStop. Everyone thought TikTok and then
Okay.
you throw all
Flagship. I get 0.45% APR dividend rate. Now, that doesn't sound great. It's almost 0.5%, but a normal checking account rate can be 0.01, 0.05. I'm getting 0.45. Now let's look at the savings accounts that Navy Fed offers. Navy Fed has better interest rates than most banks.
My girlfriend told me, and found out that we were both kind of in horrible situations. We decided
So the savings accounts
living in a car.
get 0.25. See the difference there? 0.25 for a savings account, 0.45 for their best checking account because they plan on me spending all that money. But since I'm paying all my bills with my American Express card and my Chase card, once a month I pay both of those off. Rest of the time, all that money sits there. And my wife and I have another account that we're saving for, house and whatnot. And that money really just sits there because we don't spend that at all.
How can you get us out of this kind of current situation?
Yeah, it is kind of funny that it's just from my car on borrowed Wi-Fi.
I thought it was so awesome he was sticking his finger in his nose. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and taste what's in here in front of the camera. It's a good day.
And they say the same a lot as a GameStop, which is funny because like driving past there every morning, they can say that, not much bad.
When are you gonna get to work, or just hang out in the parking lot and browse around on your phone?
I mean, it's good that you're investing because if you weren't just standing in your parking lot browsing Reddit on your phone before you get to work, says, I've got a problem.
Actually studying it a little bit, it seemed like obviously a decent sized risk, but kind of a calculated risk. So that was enough to hook me and like actually get me considering it.
Digital risks seem to me to be overblown, the negative sentiment is overdone, and the value is overlooked.
Meanwhile, a rich man is mildly inconvenienced by what's happening.
Possible. I was able to work on one of the biggest cases in the history of financial services, which was the Madoff case. Bernard Madoff has just been sentenced for the biggest investment fraud in Wall Street history. I got a lifetime of experience understanding the inside of
I don't
money
know if Bernie
laundering.
Madoff is still dead. Or still alive. Let me just check real quick. 'Cause I'm like,
What
wherever he's
happened
at,
with GameStop?
somebody was giving him props.
An investor, they see that there was still growing value in the company because it wasn't wrecked. They felt there, they bought in, they were gamers. This investor
Oh, he died in
said for the last
2021.
20 years
Goddamn.
that bankruptcies were
Lucky
causing
bastard.
this cycle.
People talk about GameStop going bankrupt and stuff. If you're saying GameStop going bankrupt, you need to show your work on that one because I don't see it at all. It's highly unlikely to happen. It wasn't like a business that was going to go bankrupt by any means. They were able to pay down debt even before all this.
I mean, but they did need a better business model. They were losing out to Best Buy and other places. GameStop routinely gives out pennies for a used game to turn around and sell it for a decent price, which is fine. I get that it's business, but it's also like you're gonna give me $5 for a game that's like a year old that I know you're gonna turn around and try to sell for like 40. Can I have 10 or 15, please?
hedge fund space for the last 25 years, focusing on public equities, but I've done a little bit of everything.
Anybody that's got to work with that many screens is getting paid.
Focusing on short
Call
sellers.
me weird, but I see that many screens. I'm like, holy shit, man, teach
People
me.
can't understand shit from the show. When regular investors bet on a company, they hope it will be successful. They buy a stock. If the price goes up, they make money. If the price goes down, they lose money. What short sellers do once? They bet on companies and hope they fail. If the stock price goes up, they actually lose money. But if the price goes down, that's when they make money. And now you're like, how the fuck do they do that?
Tell them.
Well, here's my 3-step guide to short selling. Step 1, borrow stock. So you go to a prime broker, basically super broker for hedge funds, and ask them to borrow some shares. They'll say, sure, here you go, and loan you some stock for a monthly fee. Step 2, sell the stock. Go out and sell that shit in the market. Ka-ching, cash in your pocket, baby. But hold on, you're still on the hook for that borrowed stock. Step 3, cover your position. You gotta buy back the stock and return it to the broker. Hopefully, the price goes down, so you buy the stock for less than you sold it, and then sell it.
Oh, I'll be honest, I didn't fully understand how somebody shorted prior to this little demonstration.
Which is why you gotta do your
We're
homework.
learning
A company that's
together.
on its way out. Like, a brick and
It's
mortar
weird because I
retailer
know
that's
exactly where
closing.
that GameStop is in New York. I've been there several times.
The period we're really talking about for
It's the one
GameStop
that's near Penn
is really
Station.
2019 into 2020. And what you have going on, 2019, the stock's getting killed. It goes down every day. It really doesn't matter what the management team does.
Oh, that's how people were fucking over the shorters because they drove the price up so that they couldn't sell back without losing money. Now it all makes sense.
His favorite space was the video game space, and he's a full-on video game nerd. And even though I was the tech guy, he did gaming. And so, GameStop was in our portfolio for years. In our hedge fund, we had three types of shorts. We had frost, we had growth stocks that were ending, and then we had the dead and dying. And GameStop started to be pitched to towards the end of our fund as one of the dead and dying stocks because all of a sudden, who needs to buy video games and that's their business? I can download them. And that was the beginning of the GameStop short
Also true.
squeeze.
Like you'll
If it
notice
maintained GameStop's current position, it would need to reinvent itself a bit to remain
that they no
viable and
longer sell
competitive.
certain things in GameStop. Now you have to go get like Microsoft and PlayStation cards.
That could blow up and hit.
But the business has changed quite a bit since PlayStation and Microsoft have driven us towards downloading games that you can't trade in ever.
People say, oh, all shorts are bad, kill all the shorts. Well, the reason Enron, one of the biggest accounting frauds in the history of the country, was revealed when it was revealed is because shorts, who have an incentive to engage in due diligence and uncover frauds, is if they short a stock and they then reveal the fraud and the stock goes down, they can make money. The problem is short activity, not done right, that's predatory if not
And the way the guy from The
predatory.
Big Short, Christian Bale played his character. It's Michael something. I can't remember his last name. He shorted the tech industry basically because there was an ETF called ARKK that, yes, I invested in, and he shorted that. And now it's very down. It was 127 at the beginning of 2021. Now I think it's like 60,
A lot of these folks were saying, look,
probably less.
I hate the fact that these hedge funds and these big sort of, investment firms get to kind of determine what's valuable or not.
I think that what you're seeing is a pushback against the establishment coming out of 2008. What happened was Wall Street took an enormous amount of risk and they left retail as the bad holders. And a lot of these kids, they've always wondered, like, why did those folks get bailed out for taking enormous amounts of risk and nobody showed up to help my family?
I was born out in California. When I was 1 years old, my family moved out here to Las Vegas.
Okay, so ARK.
Good growing up all the way up
Oh
until
crap, I sold ARK.
2018.
I didn't realize because I sold ARK because there's this other company, GTech, which does the same kind of investing, but it's backed by Goldman Sachs. But let's look at GTech.
So all my
GTech
family worked for Photon, and me and my friends would play what we call
was,
Photon, where we would play tag across the wall using all the abandoned houses around us.
sorry, I'm trying to see like what I bought it
And
for.
then once it did hit us, my dad lost work. He lost his job. And remember the Ozzy
Oh, okay, so I started acquiring it at $40.77 a share. It is now
didn't move out of state.
selling for $31.11.
He lived in a crappy ass
Hasn't lost
neighborhood
quite as much. Let me go back to ARK.
where when it would rain, the rain would leak and fall on our heads.
Okay, ARK is now at $63.90. A year ago,
And let the people I went to school with
it was as much as 132.50.
moment your definition of home changes. I didn't grasp the gravity of the situation. I knew it was about houses. I knew something was happening. The whole economy was
I
affected.
don't know why women are getting tattoos inside their ears, and her earlobes are too big to be drawing attention to her ears. Let's go ahead and let that hair down.
The financial crash of 2008, a wildly rigged system that was deregulated that caused the largest financial institutions in the United States and the world to engage in reckless, dangerous, and often illegal risk taking that crashed the
That dude
bottom
gets a lot of money. You can tell he's uptight. He doesn't like
trillions
crash jokes.
put into those. One study put the dollar amount of the bailout at $29 billion.
The only thing that probably makes him mad is discussing
And
politics.
really risked millions of lives.
Well, we know nothing positive comes out of Tallahassee, Florida.
And the divorce, that was all really dramatic. I mean, I was in a dark place when all that happened.
Is that before GameStop or because of it?
This is the old house. This is the first house I ever bought.
Still,
I mean, show me around a little bit. I can't tell if this is a nice neighborhood or you should be glad you're gone.
It was early 2008. Got a letter from Countrywide that said that the mortgage was increasing.
That's a pretty big
So it
increase.
went up from $815 to $1,575.
Yeah, that's
So
rough.
doubled overnight. And I'm like, I don't know if I can keep up with $1,500 a month, but I'll try my hardest.
To stay here. Although it must have been sweet only having to pay $700 a
I
month to live
was
in a house.
scrambling, I felt like, and I couldn't really think clearly. When I get the next letter, it's $3,500.
Okay.
Has now ballooned to the point where I don't even know how we can even live here any longer, and we're going to lose everything if we just walk away from it. I contacted my parents and was like, has this ever happened to you?
No, we're more responsible than that, son. But look,
I mean, the
you
economic
can't come here. You've got a
impact
lot of
of
family.
across the United States was vast and almost inconceivable when you think about it. One of the real problems with Washington policymaking is it's dominated
See what I'm saying?
by
Now that he's talking about
corporate
politics, you can tell, like, take your
lobbyists and
cool off. Get
shareholders.
mad,
And
sir.
really, let's face it, nobody has more money than the financial industry.
And they bailed out Wall Street. Spoiler.
They had an army. It makes economic sense for the financial
I
industry
had
to
forgotten all
fund
about, what was that? Something Wall Street. It wasn't
financial
Break Wall
advisors
Street.
and lobbyists and political
There was some
advisors.
kind of a sit in.
The influence industry
Time flies.
is vast, deep, broad, and incredibly well paid. There wasn't really anybody out there to oppose them, and they have a massive incentive to spend a lot of money because the financial return that they get for their investments in manipulating Washington, D.C. is way better than really any return they can get on Wall Street or in the markets.
The
And what
rich
they're
get
trying to do
richer.
is to push policymakers and regulators in Washington, D.C. to tilt the playing field in favor of the banks. Just literally, they threw everything they could at making sure there were no financial reform laws. They were all deploying that entire army to kill the legislation. When that didn't succeed, they just redeployed the entire army over into laying siege to the regulatory agencies like the SEC. The only thing standing between them and the complete subordination of the public interest are underpaid, often incredibly hardworking and dedicated public servants. And there's no way anybody could
Ugh, I
fund
just got an
a
email that
solution
somebody at
that
work's
was a
like
counterweight to the
father
financial
passed
industry.
away.
There's
Granted,
too
she's
much
an older
money
lady,
and
but
too much
there
incentive.
is so much
For
death at
instance, here in
work and so many
Washington,
funerals that I have to tell people I cannot attend. And it's not that I can, it's that I won't. I don't know you and I don't want to go to your funeral.
Taking photos of these guys, drinking champagne, laughing. Always in the back of my head, I was like, if there was a way to ever take these assholes down, let's take them down because they destroyed a hell of a lot of lives.
I mean, now that we are focusing back on 2008 and the crash and everything that came after it that I had forgotten about, it makes a lot more sense how sticking it to Wall Street with GameStop and AMC was satisfying to a lot of people.
You go on trips, you go to the Super Bowl, I mean, you do all sorts of different things.
That looks like Soul Plane, sir.
I did. So I spent a long time at Morgan Stanley, Credit Suisse, Alliance Bernstein. When I first joined Morgan Stanley, it was one of the most exciting points in my life.
Fuck yeah, you were a rich young man and you looked like you ate well because they paid well.
I viewed them as the pinnacle of Wall Street at the time. When I first walked onto the trading floor, there was a pulse and energy. It was an adrenaline rush. When you're in it and you're getting paid well,
Tell him.
you're not going to talk about it.
Sailboat
Once you come out
in his
into the
window
real world,
with his backyard facing water. You see how he's
the
living?
dichotomy between Wall Street and most outside investors, it's very real. You don't want to,
Look at it. Look at the backyard. Look at the
when you're
homes.
inside.
That's what his home looks like. We're only seeing one office, but look back there. There's a lot of windows in the house. Got my lake right behind me, you know.
Education in the past 2 months than I have in 15 years because I've dove into this so much, really trying to understand and learn about what
I
goes
do want to
into
say, yesterday when
marketing,
I was at TD Bank,
how the
I
economy
thought it was going to
moves,
be a real
and
quick, like 20-minute thing. It took closer to an hour, hour and a half.
that has happened in the past
So
month
the lady is
versus
helping
what
me,
in
and
2008.
she's got all this shit to type, and she almost like puts her pointer fingers up and then begins typing with two fingers. And immediately I just looked at her and I was like, this is going to take a long, long time.
is a pattern matcher. So in the case of Reddit, they looked at Volkswagen as a model for what might happen to GameStop.
Volkswagen back in 2008 was the most valuable company in the world at one point because of a violent short squeeze.
Short squeeze, my favorite. You remember how to short sell, right? Borrow stock, sell it on the market, hope the price goes down, buy it back. But sometimes, after you short sold the stock, something great happens to the company. Now everyone wants to buy the stock. So, the price starts to skyrocket. That's a short seller's worst nightmare.
Fuck me.
Now, you have to buy back your shares for more than you sold them for, and the price is still going up. Imagine a bunch of short sellers have borrowed a ton of stock, and there aren't any shares left. All these short sellers need the price to go down. So if the price is going up, what do? Well, it's basically a game of chicken. If one short seller buys back their shares, that purchase drives up the price. So if you're a short seller, the longer you play chicken, the more you lose and the more fucked you are. That, my friends, is a short squeeze, and it's exactly what happened with Volkswagen.
And it sounds like exactly what happened with
Starting
GameStop.
from roughly 150 euros to roughly 1200.
GameStop, I don't know. We just gotta see what happens. I don't know enough about the mechanics of the market to be sure about that type of thing. I'm not betting on a short squeeze, but it seems like something where it could take place.
People on Reddit, we saw it. This is our chance. It's like if we all can unite and stay united, then this is our one chance to blow up the Death Star.
The only problem was it was a lot of strangers who were cooperating with each other, and you had to not sell your stock while you're staring at this huge amount of money that you could have, like $20,000. Do I say fuck all these strangers and get 20,000? I would have.
It's just
That's
really
me.
going down. It seems like this is gonna go down.
A lot of people, I believe, hopped on, not even worried that they lose all their money. It's more about a middle finger to the hedge funds, especially the initial hedge funds that traded GameStop, like Melvin Capital.
Melvin was a spin-out from one of the biggest and most successful hedge funds in the hedge fund universe, run by Stephen Cohen. Stevie's a savant of stock picking, but put profits over everything else. And Gabe was certainly one of his star proteges and had a stellar reputation.
Put profits above everything else. Yeah. Shit. Put that on my tombstone. He really cared about money. A whole lot.
Wow, these people are all a bunch of idiots that don't know what they're doing at all, and I think they underestimated the underdog.
The funny thing about GameStop is it started off as a undervalued play. Because of all these hedge funds shorting the stock, it brought it to a very, very low price artificially to now.
Tell them what time it is.
So a lot of people piled in.
People that you would have never thought that people would be like interested in this type of stuff.
Tens of millions of new people who never even considered trading before.
Yeah, it's just the power of social media. Like in Bug's Life, where all the ants realize, wow, if we all come together, we can defeat those evil grasshoppers.
No one has ever referenced A Bug's Life before. Congratulations.
GameStop's up about 5x from when I uploaded those videos over the summer.
And then hype really built up on the idea of the short squeeze. A lot of people are buying into it, not even worried that they lose all their money.
You had Michael Burry out there coming in and buying the stock aggressively.
Michael Burry is the big short investor I was thinking of earlier.
He predicted a sub-net mortgage crisis. This is like 2008, back in like 2005. He made fucking millions back then.
The thing was, Chewy had come on board.
Big vote on the table whether or not to make Ryan Cohen officially chairman of the board.
Like he was going to transform this company into an e-commerce giant.
And he is not the CEO that I was talking about on Game Shark, so it must have been the co-founder.
That was the first day I ever saw green in my portfolio. It's like, what the hell is this guy doing? This is the best thing trades off. Literally taking the world by storm. It's like, hold the line, hold the line, hold the line. Don't sell. I'm in hands.
A lot to be concerned about when you think about what's happening here. Where are the regulators? And is this just the beginning?
And I was just like, what? Like, we ran outside and started pointing at the other. I was like,
Okay, let me ask you this. So, in response to this lady's father dying, a coworker of mine, he starts his reply, and he replied all to the entire staff. He starts with "Good morning and happy Friday," and then goes on to say, "Hope all are well and warm." And then, "I'm saddened for your loss, this woman." Who the fuck does that?
started peaking, and then the Robinhood thing happened.
Some trading platforms, including Robinhood, have had to suspend certain trades in some of these names, including
I will say one of the reasons for the long absence, aside from me just being a little busy, were kids in New York have every fucking holiday known to man, including thousands that man doesn't know about. And so our son was here at home with us while working from home, and it is impossible to get anything recorded with my little monster running around.
What Robinhood did, it's almost like fuck you, but good job. Their little plan, that took the wind out of the sails, for sure. Like, it did.
They cut us all off from trading because they wanted us to sell what we had.
They're going to try everything they can right now. Just cut us out to stop this from occurring.
Nobody'd seen that before. Like, that was a first. I've seen all kinds of trading halts. I've never seen a here a group of stocks that you can no longer add to. That's a first.
They can't change the rules midday. Yes, they legally can. Yeah, New York Treasury Defense and Services. No, one did. Sorry.
that has unfortunately forced the stock price to plummet. Those Robinhood investors are furious.
The trading platform Robinhood
Nobody's going to step up and help you. You're broke.
alleged unsavory business practices.
Did any of your investors or any other market makers ask you to halt these trades?
No. We're obviously all about access, and we're going to continue to stand for the individual investor.
This Vlad guy tries to play this whole for the people shtick that he has the whole time he wasn't for the people.
No, he owned a business.
Obviously, not as painful to customers as restricting all trading.
You're Wall Street's bitch, man. Like, it's just super ironic for me. You pick a name like Robinhood, you act like you're gonna be this white knight.
It worked, didn't it? It was a marketing scheme. They had a nice logo.
If you're about democratizing markets, why restrict trading at all? You look a lot more like perhaps the sheriff of Nottingham playing dress up than
Oof.
Robinhood.
All right, well, that's a fair point. Don't disrespect me. San Diego, where my mother said she saw a man masturbating on a bench. That's the first time that I heard of a man exposing himself to a stranger, and I was like, he was what now? In broad daylight.
You looked at that and you said there is a lot of emotion here. All of this rage. What can we do to give a voice to it?
I look over at Matt and I'm like, Matt, we should fly a banner that says something. We're like, what the fuck are we putting on this banner? We started talking around buy GameStop, buy GNE, I like the stock or whatever.
I don't know what stonk means, but I don't think I want to.
Suck my nuts, Robinhood.
Suck my nuts on a banner is hilarious. I would laugh every time I walked by it for as long as that banner got to fly.
So I'm hearing Casper on the phone calling every skywriting airplane banner company
What if I draw a penis after the words
What's your message? I'm like,
with my airplane?
What do you want to say? He wanted to know if I had a pilot that could fly a banner that said,
Okay, they
"Suck
did
my
go with
nuts,
suck my nuts.
Robin Hood." Normally, I'm not comfortable using those words.
One guy
Except in the
texted me
bedroom.
and was like,
But that's my
you know, I, as a
business.
7-year-old, ready to see this. I can't fly, suck my nuts.
I kind of went out on the limb because
I could say
I was
suck my
frustrated
dick,
with
but I'm not going to
what
say
was going
nuts
on.
in the sky. Children read
So
that.
I said, I'll check with my pilots.
15 minutes later, she gets back to us and she's like, so I found a guy.
He's
Turns out he
unscrupulous.
hates Robin Hood too.
Hell yeah, I'll fly that shit. Do you want me to draw testicles after I put it?
Never talked to him, don't know who he is, but if he ever watches this documentary, thank you.
My name is Anil Kumar. I've been here in the Bay Area for the last 26 years.
I was pretty close with that accent.
Calls and says, hey, I have a request for this banner that we'd like you to do, and it's a little controversial.
A little. Is it going to be like over the Robin Hood HQ or? All right, what are we looking at? Is that Los Angeles? Beautiful. I don't know how I missed any news reports, although maybe the news wasn't going to run with
Such
that.
a big response.
Oh yeah, they saw him. I know they did because Casper told me. He says they're coming outside, and some of them were taking pictures.
He says, suck my nuts, Robin Hood.
And all these
Oh,
people
hi.
tagging their friends, and people started sliding into my DMs. Everyone was just like, dude, want to help this cause. This is awesome.
It just went viral.
I didn't tell my parents what the banner said, but my dad was like, oh yeah, we kind of heard.
After the Robinhood app halted trading on GameStop, one investor chartered a plane to fly a banner over the company's headquarters saying, "Suck my nuts, Robinhood."
Ooh, that's a gangster move right there. It's
Oh, good. I was like, please don't make me watch Trevor Noah. Yes, for those of you, I was one of the people who refuses to watch The Daily Show after Jon Stewart left.
That GME is the funniest looking thing I've ever seen. Oh my god. It's just
Though I will say,
the $10
all hate aside, and it's not even really hate, Trevor Noah is a really nice guy. The one time that I interacted with him when we were on the same show, he was wonderful. But he's not Jon Stewart, so I don't care to watch him.
A little bit of an ego boost whenever my post blew up. That's geez, the front page of Wall Street Bets. Then I checked my inbox again, and it said, you have been temporarily banned from participating in r/Wall Street Bets. Moderators, come back when you clean off the poor. And I'm like, what? Like, in what world is that okay to say to a person who has just openly admitted that they're homeless?
I mean, that is a wild statement to make. I guess Reddit's not really operating like a lot of reputable establishments. When you clean off the poor, you bum. Who cares?
I used to be doing the thing that I dreamed about doing with my life. I used to be making games. I used to be programming games. And turns out I was actually getting pretty damn good at it.
Well, what happened? Sexual harassment? Go get a job at a gaming company.
And so that kind of is a blow to your psyche. Maybe there's still a chance for you to recover.
Maybe. You can't be that old. You look 35 like you don't care about yourself, but you shave, cut your hair.
That puts me at 200 in market value on GME. That little blip right there is where it was profitable for all of 5 minutes. I have no idea why a sane person would hold on more strongly to money that's sinking than
Which is exactly why I would have sold when it was really high. Fuck you. Pay me.
We live in a just world, like things would have worked out a lot differently with all this. Retail traders would have been able to make a profit, but for whatever reason, whenever everybody else tries to do it, it's against the rules.
We used all of our smarts, we used all of our analysis, we banded together to do the same
Yeah, but you banded with strangers. There are no alliances.
Pissed Robinhood had shut off the buy button. I mean, these brokers had legit reasons, and we'll get to those later, but a lot of people thought something else was going on. Something way more fucked up.
It was clearly rigged, and there was clearly some kind of collusion was going on.
It's funny how blatant it is. At this point, it seems like they're
Hey,
doing
Facebook
whatever
didn't even do anything this
to
time.
not lose billions of dollars a day. Or maybe
While we're
a
talking
lot of
about
people are saying that
motherfuckers,
silver
Robinhood and
is what
Facebook.
Reddit is talking about.
Silver seems to be the next target of this so-called Reddit cohort.
The silver spike prices surging to 5-month highs after these Redditors drove up the price.
Tell them a story. Tell them a lot of stories.
But the truth is,
You know, we can't buy GameStop? Fuck it, we'll buy silver.
no one is talking about
The
silver at
price
all.
of copper shooting up 33%.
You're like, holy crap. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
It's like they're trying to divert attention from GameStop on something that's making them lose money to something that's making them gain money.
Oh. Well, that does sound dirty, but that's how the rich play it.
If you're looking into silver, an interesting thing is one of the largest holders is Citadel.
Robinhood gets revenue behind the scenes from Citadel Securities.
Citadel. You mean the Citadel? This is where things get
Be honest, never heard of that company before in my life. We're learning.
Started as a hedge fund investor out of Chicago, but grew this empire into Citadel Securities, a business that started to become more like a bank or it did everything. They do everything. So they're a huge player in this game and have a very vested interest in Robinhood's survival because
I love it.
it's big money.
vested interest is an understatement. It turns out Citadel is Robinhood's biggest customer.
On the side, there are some relationships with Citadel and also Melvin.
So here's the part of the story that I left out. Remember Melvin Capital, the hedge fund short selling GameStop?
I do.
Brokers were driving up the price like crazy, and Melvin was losing a lot of money. Melvin needed help before they got crushed. But where would they get it from?
Citadel and Point72 have infused something on the order of close to $3 billion into Melvin Capital
Oh.
to shore up its finances.
He lost a lot of money.
Melvin got $3 billion from Ken, the
Ooh,
Citadel
shit.
VP, and Steve, Gabe Plotkin's old mentor. Now, was that a bailout to buy back the stock Melvin shorted and get out of the bet? Or were these three teaming up to double down against GameStop? Whatever the plan was, it failed. Because 2 days later, Melvin made a weird announcement.
Melvin Capital is now out of the stock.
That's right, I'm done. Thank you, everybody.
Melvin bought back their stock. Or something. They lost like $7 billion. I mean, I don't like losing
Yeesh.
$7, but $7
Yeah, I don't like losing 7 either, because when I find it, I'm happy for a moment, and then I'm like, damn, do you know when you lost this money?
The place that gets most of its money from Citadel turns off its buy button.
There was clear as day collusion right there between Melvin and Citadel and Robinhood.
And nobody cared.
They're in bed together.
Financial giants like Citadel Securities are the sworn enemy of Wall Street bets.
I mean, they're showing a lot of the same little clips
Robinhood was a bet
for an HBO documentary. Like, I don't need to see them look up Wall Street bets anymore.
All of those
I get it.
from the past really started welling up inside me too about what had happened to me in 2008. And I put that post on Reddit that night. I wasn't alone though. There were so many people that responded to me in the same fashion with how much that they had endured, the things that they had lost.
But why did your wife leave you just because the mortgage skyrocketed?
My squeeze hasn't been squoze.
She's a dirty, dirty bitch.
My chance to have a full
They want $3,500 a month for the mortgage instead of $700.
and be involved in this
I don't think that this marriage is gonna work.
enough's enough. You know, it's time somebody needs to do something. I took half of my 401k out and I threw it in game.
Oh, you fool.
Many people, like Jason, believe the short sellers had cheated and still had to buy back their stock, which meant there were still hedge funds to be squeezed and money to be made.
Is that his daughter or his girlfriend?
And my mind immediately goes to that is the worst thing you could do right now. That is a failing company. We're in the middle of a pandemic. What are you thinking?
Actually, he was thinking this. But not everyone came out on top.
Oh, he did make money.
35% on BlackBerry,
Yeesh.
33% on Nokia,
Ouch.
58% on iPhones.
My ass.
Why did I buy Build-A-Bear Workshop?
I don't know. Nobody should buy Build-A-Bear Workshop unless they work for Build-A-Bear.
It was definitely my biggest play.
Oh my.
That for one guy. Poor little Melvin.
What'd you lose? 7 Bs.
What makes the GameStop episode so fascinating, though, isn't who won or lost, but what it exposed. How did the squeeze get so violent so quickly? Was there more going on than just short selling?
GameStop
We're here in a back alley watching a dice game.
broader public to start asking questions that they've never really asked before. These are the questions below the surface.
Is that a bear behind those monitors or a tree?
Drama that's happened in GameStop.
Some believe
Ooh,
that
look at that
some
compound.
bigger than Melvin were manipulating the stock in a way that only the uber powerful on Wall Street can.
What is that?
By selling shares
Is that a castle?
that already exist. This is called naked short selling.
I was actually involved in another public company that got attacked by a bunch of short sellers. And I spoke to somebody and they were like, well, have you met David Wenger? He's got techniques, uncovered secrets in the plumbing system of Wall Street.
Okay, see, this is another angle in that same house, I think.
Assets that don't exist, making money out of thin air. This data is highly confidential. This is the tip of the iceberg of illegal naked short selling. The world's talking about it in a way that it never has in the wake of GameStop.
You start looking at the short interest, that's when you start seeing
Guy has a really long hair growing out of his forehead scar.
shares that are being produced. How is this even allowed to be legal?
I think of a lot of people.
I'm still mad that dude made $620,000.
Place here.
But I'd have settled to make $26,000. That would have been wonderful.
Billion-dollar companies on our system, and can tell you that the illegal short selling has gone right up the food chain.
I don't view this as whistleblowing. I view it more as this.
What is all over your lapel, sir? Is that dandruff?
Before I met David, I never really understood the.
And your shirt is rumpled. You don't even care that it's television. How much money do you have?
Just one
Adam Sandler in this thing.
firm, three firms. It's all the firms that commit capital. Companies are being manipulated with naked short selling, which are basically phantom shares. You're selling something that ultimately you don't know exists. And I illegally naked short sale stocks every day. Every day. As long as I was collecting commissions.
Tell him.
And the bank did not care.
And now the police officer arrests that man, or no? All right. Well, what did you guys think of that first episode? I liked it. I'm going to watch the second one. Not right now, because I have forgotten to watch AEW Dynamite. And there is a pay-per-view coming on this Sunday. If I thought people were going to buy it, I would definitely do a Let's Watch. Yeah, I promise not to disappear same way again. But we'll be back very soon with goodness. Pieces.